All right, good evening. Welcome to BroncoTalk. So real quickly, let's do this real quick here. There we go. All right. So this is the final week of the season, final week of the regular season. The Denver Broncos are taking on the Kansas City Chiefs. As you can see, I put the playoff picture down here at the bottom. Really, only one spot up for grabs in the AFC this week. Really, seeding is really decided. Vice fifth and sixth with the Chargers and the Steelers. I'm gonna go ahead and share this in a second, but this is this is it. This is going to be a big game. And on Saturday, also, the Denver Broncos are bringing in their classic uniforms, the old 1977 era themed uniforms. And we'll go to the website so I can show you all exactly what that looks like. But yeah, this is a massive game. And I've been thinking about it. And I get to go back to last week. Last week, the Denver Broncos were defeated by the Cincinnati Bengals 30-24 in overtime. And I tweeted out something earlier this week about how I thought going for the extra point when it was 8 seconds left was the right move. And obviously now that I've said that, if I was coaching the Broncos, that's the move I would have made. But some of the comments from Sean Payton this week really lead to decide what was he thinking. And he made it sound like he regretted this. I'll put the NFC playoff picture here in a second up. For a team that hasn't been in the playoffs in 9 years, for an organization that, when Pat Bowlen owned this team, they only had, I think they had been to more Super Bowls than there was losing seasons under him as a owner. And to look at what happened after Super Bowl 50 and we'll get into this a little bit deeper, but to look at what happened after Super Bowl 50 and to see what's happened since then, the 9-7 year of Trevor Siemian with Kansas City kicked a field goal to eliminate the Broncos out of the playoffs. That I don't know how far that team would have gone, but you're going back and looking at some of the 4-12s, just everything since Super Bowl 50. I look back at Saturday night and I think, damn it, you should have gone for two. And I think based on, of course, this is also knowing that the Kansas City Chiefs are coming in at 15-1, probably not going to play a lot of their starters. So you're really kind of like, there's a lot of second guessing with this stuff. But I also want to look at that. The Denver Broncos hadn't stopped the Cincinnati Bengals all night. This turned into one of these, they didn't punt the ball all night until overtime. And yeah, we could talk about the 7 sacks and everything and 58 sacks on the year, which is a Denver Broncos record. But the defense in the month of December alone has went from a top 5 defense to a 32nd ranked defense. So if you just take those 4 games into a microcosm, they're averaging that, and it's not very good, Bob. But looking back at it, there's a lot of hindsight's 2020, but they put the 2 sign up. Bo Nix put the 2 sign up. Sean Payton put the 2 sign up, and then they reviewed the catch, the Mims catch at the end, and it turned into this. They second guessed themselves, and if you look at what happened in overtime, Cincinnati went, they went 3 and outs basically, and then Denver went 3 and out. And then they had the missed pass to Troy Frank. And if you keep taking the microcosm, I heard Sean Payton mention the word, we knew a tie helped us out too. And I hate to hear coaches say, hey, I would play for a tie. It feels defeatist. But with that being said, I was thinking about it, and I was a little bit more level-headed Saturday as far as, shouldn't have won the game, shouldn't have been in there. But there's 2 weeks in a row Denver Broncos were up 24-13 over the Los Angeles Chargers. I know we talked about the 21-10 and then the field goal, the fair catch field goal kick. But reality was they came out in the second half and put 3 points up on the board. Now you're up 11. And then last week, you're 17 all, and then Bo Nix throws an interception on 3rd and 15. You get the ball back. You shouldn't have got the ball back anyway. That's why I think you should have gone for 2 as well. And this is all Monday morning quarterback, and I've already said this and put it on Twitter. I would have kicked the extra point. But looking back at it, they probably should have gone for 2 because, when the football gods give you a gift like they did, and the Cincinnati Bengals give you the ball back with 90 seconds left, I mean, you got to go for 2. It's almost like someone's like, here, have it. And then you've got the moment there where they missed like a 30-something yard field goal where it hits the post and or the upright. And, there's just so much second guessing. So for right now, like I could sit here and tell you how great the season's been as far as the Broncos. They've got 9 wins. It's a winning season. If they don't make the playoffs on Sunday, I'm going to be devastated. I'm not going to be happy. So I've moved my analysis of how I feel about this team. Like, this is a must win. Like, this is everything. I know they're probably not going to go to Buffalo and win that. That's going to be a tough ask to ask the Broncos to go to win in Buffalo. But make the daggum dance. That's all I ask at this point. And if you've got to legitimately have a question, if this team blows this, and we could sit there and what Vegas odds were, and I talk about that 5.5 wins was the Vegas odds. ESPN at the beginning of the year, I think, ranked them the 31st best roster. And none of that stuff's going to matter because the data changed. The data points changed halfway through the season. So for me, it's win this season or win on Sunday. I'm not happy. I think that I'll probably, because I'm pretty analytical and pretty I get over things quickly. By the following weekend, I'll probably have a little bit of like, oh, well, hey, I feel pretty good about this. Like the season went well, I enjoyed it, blah, 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 blah. But on Sunday, if they don't beat the Kansas City Chiefs, and the Kansas City Chiefs are not going to play Patrick Mahomes. I haven't heard exactly officially from Andy Reid on that, but they have everything locked up. Anybody that's got an injury or anything is probably not going to play for the Chiefs. So that means I think the line is already Broncos. Mr. Tom's in the chat. He can tell me what the line is. I feel it's probably 9.5 Denver. But we'll get into that in a second. But yes, we'll probably still continue to do shows during the playoffs. Absolutely, no question about it. But I'm going to look at this year, and I'll tell you what, 2008, and I'll equate if the Broncos don't win on Sunday, 2008, and it will actually probably feel even a lot worse. I'll even throw up the 2008 Broncos schedule here on the screen. But in 2008, the Denver Broncos were 8-5 going into the last week of the season. All right, let's go ahead and share this. I'll present this so I can add context for people that do not remember then. So, yeah, here we go. As you can see, 2008, the Denver Broncos. There you go. Perfect. All right. Finished 8-8, second in the AFC. That's the AFC West. So if you go look at it, they ended up being, you can see here, the San Diego Chargers. Well, this is how it started. They beat the Jets on Thanksgiving weekend. Then they beat the Chiefs the following weekend. And then I went to this game actually in Carolina. At 10.5 Denver, right? Because if it's 10.5 Denver, that means they're pretty much telling you the Chargers aren't, the Chiefs aren't going to play any of their players. And then I was at this game right here. It was 10-10. And then the this is back when the Panthers had, 10-10 in the first quarter, yep, and the Panthers just blew through them. They had a really good running game that time. They had Jonathan Stewart and D'Angelo Williams. And, yeah, the Broncos, P.J. Pope scored the touchdown. Jay Cutler was the quarterback. So there was that game. And then the following game for the Denver Broncos, they played the Buffalo Bills. And in 2008, I'll never forget this game. The Broncos' first 3 drives, one ended in a touchdown, and then they were given a gift here. And they basically got in the red zone twice and ended up with 13 points. Well, the Bills ended up crawling back into it. And the Bills ended up defeating the Broncos 30-23. And this would have been the game, if they were going to make it, this would have been the game that Denver would have won. And then, of course, the following weekend, all the momentum was with San Diego. He's probably going to get the week off. And this is the game where San Diego ran through Denver like shit through a goose. And, I mean, they blew them out 52-21. And this actually got Mike Shanahan fired. Now, when I bring this up, there's the context between the two is massively important. So everybody's going to sit there and say, oh, are you saying that if the Broncos lose 3, that Sean Payton would be out? No, I don't think so. And I wouldn't even be calling for that, not even remotely. But I think the level of disappointment and despair that the fan base would feel would match that 2008 feeling. I remember I was gutted. And then the next following year, we got McDaniels to come in 2009. That year finished 8-8. Same situation happened. Josh McDaniels closer to the end of the year. It didn't end with a 3-game losing streak, but they needed to beat the Chiefs to win the last game to make it to the playoffs, and they didn't. They lost to the Philadelphia Eagles the previous week. And you can see right here, they started the year out 6-0. Lost to the Ravens, lost to the Steelers, lost to the Redskins. I was at that game. And then they lost to the Chargers 32-3. So there's they started 6-0. Ended up being 6-4, won 2 games against the Giants. That was the Thanksgiving game, 26-6. Then they beat the Kansas City Chiefs in Arrowhead. And then they lost to Indy, which was a good team with Peyton Manning. The Raiders, that was a 1-loss defeat. And then the Eagles, which I think 2009 Eagles were 11-5, so that was a decent team. They were kind of outmatched for that. But they ended up, the hapless Chiefs, coming into that, they were 4-12. So, and Sean Payton was asked about this game, and I'll say this much: Sean Payton was asked about, hey, are you preparing for Mahomes not to be here? And he says, look, the reality is you're going to prepare for the scheme. It doesn't matter. You're going to prepare for the scheme of whoever's the team. So just because Patrick Mahomes isn't there doesn't mean Carson Wentz can't run some of the same plays. Now, there's a different limitation when it comes to ability, but at the same time, like you're still going to prepare for the Chiefs. You're still going to get Worthy. You're still going to get some of these good players that if the Broncos don't show up and bring their A game, if there's not a focus on Sunday about the task at hand, they will lose to a Carson Wentz Chiefs team. And I hate to say that. But that's being gloom and doom, and we still got but with that being said, we'll see what happens on Sunday. But if they lose, I will not be in a good mood. But let's go ahead and pivot. As you can see, I've got the AFC playoff picture up there. You can see Kansas City sitting at first. Let's actually pull up the standings instead of just talking about it. As you can see, I've got the AFC up here right now. You've got Kansas City as the 1 seed right now, sitting at 15-1. Buffalo Bills are the 2 seed, sitting at 13-3. They've clinched the AFC East. You've got the Baltimore Ravens. Now, the Ravens are sitting at 11-5, and the Steelers are sitting at 10-6. Let's do this real quick. So the scores, this is what we're looking at here for games this week. Ravens play the Browns. That's at 4:30 on Saturday. And then you've got the Bengals playing the Steelers at 8 o'clock on Saturday. So in theory, if the Ravens win, and it says it right here. Oh, crap. Let's go back to this. If the Ravens win on Sunday, they'll clinch the division. If the Ravens lose, and the Steelers find a way to beat the Bengals, and the Steelers would win the division. And then, of course, Pittsburgh would get the 3 seed, and then Baltimore would fall probably to the 5 seed. Now, the Chargers, they play on Sunday, and I believe they're the late game, Chargers and the Raiders. Chargers are probably going to beat the Raiders. That would put them at 10-6, 11-6, and the Chargers at 4-12, 4-13. But that's potential to see what will happen on that one. Because we've lost our standings. Anyway, so, playoff picture. Let's do the playoff picture. Sorry. So you're looking here, Houston Texans sitting at the 4 seed. They're not going to drop anywhere. They clinched the division. That's where they are. And then, of course, there's the AFC. The Broncos are 9-7 in the driver's seat. Win the game, and you get to go play Buffalo and get your ass beat. That's the reality of the situation. But Miami's at 8-8. They have the tiebreaker over Cincinnati. So if Cincinnati loses on Sunday or Saturday, they're out. Miami plays, if I'm not mistaken, I think the Jets. Yep, you see them right here. The Jets, you can get in for as low as $23. And I don't think the Jets are even playing Rodgers. But the spread is Miami -1, which is interesting because I don't know what's going to happen as far as that goes. But yeah, so there's that. So that's what the AFC playoff picture looks like. So if Miami loses and Cincinnati loses, it doesn't matter what happens in the Denver game. Denver makes it to the playoffs. But I also don't want Denver going in the playoffs at 9-8. I know it really doesn't matter they make the playoffs, but I want them to win. I want them to earn it. And you could argue that even other teams losing and you make again, you earned it, but the vibe and the feel is completely different coming in off of a win going to Buffalo. And then again, you get to go play Josh Allen. That's going to be a difficult task. And Buffalo might be the best team in the AFC right now as far as who's playing the best. But those top 3 teams, I'm looking at that when I think about, to me, there's 4 teams that have a legit chance to win, come out of the AFC: Kansas City, Buffalo, Baltimore, and the Chargers. I still think the Chargers have a chance. Pittsburgh's a possibility. I don't think Houston has a chance. I definitely don't think Denver does. There's another one that Cincinnati at 8-8. If they make it in at 9-8, there's a possibility they could make some noise. But anyway, let's go to the NFC. In the NFC, we've got Detroit as the number 1 overall seed. If they're going to have to win on Sunday. So the number 1 seed is still kind of up in arms. It's between Minnesota and Detroit. And Minnesota has, let me see here. Minnesota, blah, blah, Minnesota. Sorry, I should be more prepared for this. I'm very sorry. Minnesota is taking on the Lions. I forgot. Oh, God. This is game of the week right here. 8:20, Sunday Night Football, Minnesota Vikings, Detroit Lions, winner takes all. Tickets as low as $349. As you can see, ESPN Bet has it as -3, 56.5 over. Okay. That's the game of the weekend, naturally. But, so there's that. Philadelphia's locked in. Storyline with the Philadelphia game this weekend is Philadelphia is in a Saquon Barkley. Do they play their players? They really can't gain anything, and they can't lose anything. Saquon is about 100 and some yards off of Eric Dickerson's single-season rushing record. I believe Philly is playing the Giants. All right. I can still see Philly winning that game regardless of the Giants. You got the Rams. They're playing really good football right now. They're the 3 seed right now. Obviously, Minnesota's locked in. Washington is locked in. Green Bay is locked in at 7. Seattle's eliminated as they can't win their division. So the last spot that's up for grabs is Tampa Bay and Atlanta. And this also comes down to this is going to come down to who wins the division. And I believe they're playing each other too. That Vikings-Lions game is going to be so good. And I said this last week. I said that Sam Darnold's going to get himself paid. He's going to get himself paid, but I'm 100% sure that Falcons play the Panthers, and then Tampa plays, I believe, The Saints. Yep. Okay, so they're not playing. So the Bucks win that, then they would be in it. If the Bucks lose and the Falcons win, the Falcons would be in. So there's that. But yeah, so let's go look at this Denver Broncos here real quick. Injury report. Real quick, it looks like Ben Powers and Zach Allen approved as full participants for the Week 18 game. Let's see here. Frank Crum did not practice. Tyler Beatty, Nick Benito, and Sennard fully practiced. Tyler Beatty was injured in the Jets game and really hasn't been seen since then. They're going to – tomorrow the statuses will come out. But you can see – look at this classic I'm going to zoom in on this. This is so beautiful. This 1970s look injury report. Oh, no, look at that thing. That is just that logo, man. So good. Yeah, so that's the news that's going on. Let's see what else we got going on here. Let's see. PJ Locke gets the Ed Block Courage Award. Jonathan Cooper gets the Darren Williams Good Guy. Darren Williams was murdered 2007. I'm not mistaken, or 2007 New Year's Eve with Brandon Marshall. Almost 20 years. Let's go look at some next gen stats. Let's pivot here a little bit. Playoff picture. We did that already. Let's go look at some highlights from last week's game. And I should go look at some passing charts. I want to look at Bo Nix last week, because Bo Nix, in my opinion, I feel like that was one of his best games as a starter. He made, to me, the throw to Mims was easily the best throw I've seen him make. And I'm not talking the Hail Mary throw. I'm talking this one throw here that he threw to let's see here. Yeah, 24-31, 219, 3 touchdowns, 1 pick. Let's see if they even got that actual that was the other concern I brought up that I noticed. We got 1 minute 45 left in the Sugar Bowl, and Notre Dame is up 23-10 over Georgia. So poor Georgia. So this throw to Mims, I think this is the 50-yard. Yep, the 51-yard touchdown pass. I mean, it's just easily one of the best balls I've seen Bo Nix throw as a pro. As you can see here, got 2 tight ends, Atkins and Trotman sitting here. So 12 personnel, 1 running back. This is Audric Estime. Looks like Michael Burton was out here. Didn't realize that. Let's go and watch this play unfold. Yep. You can see Bo Nix gets all the time in the world, throws the ball up, and beautifully. Just first down and 10, fourth quarter, Denver on the 49. But yeah, that was the throw of the game. And unfortunately, I can't show actual plays, but I mean, how good that was. My keys to the game this weekend. So we're talking about Kansas City and Denver. It's going to be run the ball, and it's going to be run the ball with let me see. I think I'll be able to do the preview of the game. Let me see if I got that up. It's going to be run the ball. Jaleel McLaughlin on Sunday or Saturday was like 9 of 62. And I think he's a guy that you got to get involved. And I think he needs more than 9 carries. He was just really good running the ball on Saturday, and they have to really tap into that on Sunday. You got to protect the football. Looks like Next Thursday will be Penn State, Notre Dame. Wow, poor Georgia. The SEC cries again. But yeah, so let's go look at this game. Find if there's a little bit better analysis than what I've got going on this going forward. Chiefs and Broncos. I mean, the reality here with this game, 425 CBS. They and this is according to the AP. It looks as if as of 6:53 tonight, looks like Kansas City is going to play their backups. The line is, like Mr. Tom said, 9.5. 349. Yes, for that Vikings Lions game, it's $349. Yeah, Broncos are 11-5 against the spread. Chiefs have won 73 out of 73 times in this series. And then we go back to that painful game of November 10th when the walk-off field goal, we could have sent the Broncos up 17-6 and made this game probably not even matter. The Broncos could have been 10-6, and the Chiefs could be 14-2, and the game probably would have made a little bit. So if the Broncos don't get that field goal block, we can sit here and do what ifs on every single game this year. So you can talk about the Jonathan Taylor fumble in the Indy game, but if the Broncos win this game against the Chiefs in week, I think it was week, it doesn't matter. If they don't get that field goal blocked, they're probably looking at about fighting with Los Angeles for that 6 seed. So, and then of course the Chiefs would want to win, maybe at 14-2, and then the Bills would be playing. And there would be so much things, but whatever. It didn't happen that way. The Chiefs beat the Steelers on Christmas Day. Excuse me. And the Broncos lost 30-24 in overtime. You can see here's the Chiefs' offense is 13th overall, 16th of the rush, 10 passing, 11 scoring. Chiefs' defense is 4th overall, 4th against the rush, 14th against pass, and 2nd in scoring. Broncos' offense, 22 overall, 17th rush, 22nd pass, 10th scoring. 15th overall defense, 8th against the rush, 25th against the pass, and 5th scoring. Carson Wentz is going to get the start. It is pretty meaningless. I mean, this is everything. Like I know people are going to sit here and say, "Oh, the Broncos made the playoffs after beating a backups filled Chiefs," but they don't play week 17. This was even in a 16-game schedule. We used to see this stuff too. But DeAndre Hopkins, will he play? And this is really interesting to see who's going to play on Saturday. But it looks like Chris Jones will probably be out. Pacheco's definitely not playing. And then Jawan Taylor, right tackle, will not play. I will say this: I didn't see a scenario where the Chiefs would have played Mahomes in this game. You go back and look at the first game. The Broncos had 5 sacks against the Chiefs, and Patrick Mahomes was picking up his helmet. It's going to look weird if the Broncos win on Sunday and Patrick Mahomes isn't on the sideline, but I don't care. Just win the game. Yep, but you can see they won 16 straight against the Broncos. Until last year, the Broncos beat them 24-9 under Russell Wilson. Yep, so we set the single season record, 15th. They could win if they win on Sunday. They would have 16 games, which would tie New England's 2007 record. Kelsey's probably not going to play. This is going to be an interesting game. As you can see, there's a beautiful picture of Mile High. And in fact, when I went to the game, I sat about right here, I think right about here, 104. But it's $350 is crazy to watch any sport. It's going to be 37 degrees at kickoff. Over unders 40 points. That means they're looking at Denver to win 24-14. I'd take that. But yeah, that's really kind of it today. I didn't want to go too far in depth with some of this stuff, but I will say this. I've enjoyed this Broncos season. We will be continuing. So let's go a little to what the future brings. I will be covering the NFL playoffs. Whether that's a watch along or not, I don't know. We'll see. I'm not really a big watch along guy. We may do a game here or there, depending on what my schedule is. I know the 18th of January, a friend's having a birthday party, so we got to go to that. And there may be some other requirements that I have. Thank you, Tom. But we still plan on picking playoff games analysis. I'll talk about them. One more thing, and I want to go look at the betting line on something because Black Monday is coming up. Black Monday in the NFL is the day that people get fired. They get their pink slip. So I want to see the betting odds on coaches fired NFL. So here we go. Odd Shark. Well, that's not. I want to see the most recent one. See if we got one here. Betting odds. This is from December 17th. Blah blah blah. Let's see. Next coaches fired odds. I don't know if these are accurate. But I know the one that we'll definitely see. I'll have to find that. Let's see here. If I find a most recent article. I'm sure Tom has access to that type of stuff, the betting odds. But let's go look at it anyway. Let's share the screen. Let's do one more presentation before the night's over. All right, cool. So as you can see, there's Doug Peterson, coach of the Jaguars. I would imagine here's the odds. Doug Peterson at 325 plus 325 of the Jaguars. That will happen. All right. Brian Daboll of the Giants. That will happen. Mike McCarthy of the Cowboys. Might happen. I think it will. And then Antonio Pierce came in at plus 800. I don't see Antonio Pierce getting fired from the Cleveland Browns. From the Las Vegas Raiders. The only way he gets fired, in my opinion, is if they don't have a good replacement where they'll be like, hey, we can get this coach in. They're not just going to fire him for the next big thing. Now, jobs that are open, the Bears job is open, so there'll be a coach that'll fill that. I think McCarthy probably gets fired. So for me, the Jags will fire, the Giants will fire, the Cowboys will fire, and I'm going to say the Browns are going to fire Stefanski. I have a feeling it's going to happen, but they may not as well. My argument for it is that it's kind of the rails have fallen off on that team. And again, the argument then becomes like, would you hold a coach accountable for the quarterback not being there anymore? So they're pretty loyal for the most part. The Bears are pretty loyal. If you look at it, Lovie Smith was with the Bears for a long time. And then I can't remember who the manager, the coach was afterwards. Off the top of my head, it'll the minute I go end it, I'll remember who it is. But they typically are pretty loyal for the most part. You have to go back to the coach's history, but Eberflus has been there for a couple of years. I can't even think of the guy's name right now. He was a CFL coach, but he didn't last there long. The Jets are going to be looking for a brand new head coach because they already fired their coach this season. So you're looking at the silly season of the NFL. Zach Taylor at the Bengals, if they lose and don't make the playoffs, that's a possibility. But you're looking at your Jets are going to be looking for someone. Bears are going to be looking for something. Jags, Giants. That's 4 I can think of. And if you add the Cowboys, that puts 5. It's going to be 7. I think it's going to be 7. There'll be somebody, either the Raiders, Browns, or Bengals, and there'll be a surprise team that fires a coach. A surprise team will fire a coach that we didn't see coming. But let's do something else too, a little bit fun here. Super Bowl futures. So let's see here. There's a different website. It's got Opening, FanDuel, BetMGM, and Caesar Sportsbook. Let's see if we can zoom in a little further so you guys can see it better. All right, so opening has the Lions at 14, plus 1,400. So basically, FanDuel has Lions and Chiefs in the Super Bowl. Opening has that's good odds too. Probably some scam site. Their pick would either be the Ravens and the Bills. They have basically, ironically, the Lions coming out of the NFC, and then plus 800 for the Bills, Chiefs, and Ravens. Interesting odds there. The favorites in FanDuel would be Chiefs and the Lions. BetMGM has Chiefs and Lions as the favorite, and Caesar Sportsbook has Lions and Chiefs as the favorite, with the Bills and the Eagles sitting there at plus 650. Well, if you look over here, NFC, this is to win the whole Super Bowl. This is not actually, who's going to come out of the conference, but NFC Championship game. Here you go. There you go, Mr. Tom. You've got the Packers having the third best odds on opening to make it to the NFC Championship game. And then FanDuel likes the Lions and the Eagles. Most of these books are still doing Lions, Eagles, but you got a surprise here. Minnesota's plus 400, but over at opening, they don't like Minnesota. It has them at plus 2,200. For the AFC, we got Denver at plus 5,000. Put $1 on that. Why not, right? I'd be stupid not to put $1 on that, even though it's not going to happen. But over here, they favor the Bills and the Chiefs as the AFC Championship game. So we'll see. So as far as the future of this channel, and we talk Bronco stuff here, so we'll do a lot of silly season Bronco stuff. Obviously, March is going to be free agency. April is going to be the NFL draft. So we'll probably do a couple mock drafts too, like hey, pick some who's going to go where. I'll do a 7-round Broncos draft. Make trades and all sorts of whatnot. I did that last year. I think during the summertime when it's kind of dead, I'll talk about certain games. I'll do like a quick, hey, Broncos news, what's going on? And then we'll do like, hey, this game on this date, and I'll talk about the game and show the box score, and we'll talk about. We may even do like a year review of a certain Broncos team and talk about that team and what I remember of the team and everything. But we'll decide from there. But other than that, I really have nothing else to talk about tonight. I appreciate those of you who have come by, those of you who will watch it on replay. I definitely appreciate it. Again, thanks for everybody for coming by, and have a good night.